Windows 10 averaging over 50 GB of write/day to SSD over 9 months. Update, moving the following folders off drive then symlinking them eliminated the constant writing to C. %localapdata %/Google/Chrome easily the biggest consumer. %localapdata %/Microsoft /Windows /File history. I moved them to a freshly formatted drive. After 3 hours there has already been 10.5 GB of reads and 10.3 GB of writes. In that same time, drive C:/ has only seen 3.5 GB of reads and 1.3 GB of writes. This has been bugging me for a while. Windows 10 Education seems to constantly write data to the C:/ drive for no apparent reason even when the PC goes unused for days at a time. I can't find the source of the writes or the data it writes. In just 9 months 10% of the 500 GB Samsung 850 EVO's drive life has been consumed. Is this because Windows is doing a lot of logging and tracking in the background? If that's the reason, I'd like advice on how to disable it. I feel there's nothing else left that I could move off the C:/ drive, more on this in the breakdown. Winfo64 has been running the past 12.75 days, W/14 days uptime, to track drive stats. During this time the PC was not touched from July 1st to July 5th or July 8th. I figure the max possible time in use is about 5 days because during the weekdays it's sitting untouched for at least 18 hours. Here's a breakdown of most of the drives. 500 GB Samsung 850 EVO, age: 0.7 years, host rights: 13.3 TB, 50 GB/day. C:/ in past 2 weeks, nothing new installed, but 900 GB 64 GB/day was written. That's 180 GB/day for 5 usage days. Shadow copy system restore is set to 10% and there is no file history for this drive. 500 GB Samsung 850 EVO, age: 1.7 years, host rights: 8.6 TB. _important data and user profile folders are mapped here. This is the only drive with file history enabled. Shadow copy system restore is set to 15%. This was once a Windows 7C drive for about a year. 250 GB Samsung 840 EVO, age: 3.7 years, host rights: 10.5 TB and AMP. 256 GB Crucial M4, age: 4.8 years, host rights: 25 TB. D:// drives are pooled to create a strip storage space RAID 0. The page file, temp folders, software distribution, Node.js/npm, Origin, Steam, and recorded TV are stored here. There is no shadow copy system restore or file history for this drive. Under Windows 7 each drive was a system drive at one time, the 840 EVO for a year and the M4 for 3 years. The M4 has just started failing in the last 30 days and will often drop offline during heavy writes. The Winfo stats even show it's not pulling its weight. Storage Spaces manages the drive well enough that I haven't got around to removing the drive yet. This is after only 25 TB of host rights in a 5 years period. The 850 EVO is already halfway there. This is the motivating factor behind this question. 4 TB HGSD DeskStar, age: 2.6 years, host rights: 17 TB and AMP. 4 TB HGSD DeskStar, age: 0.75 years, host rights: 7 TB. B:/ and AMP, M:/ drives are pooled to create a 2 TB stripped and a 3 TB mirrored storage space respectively. Neither volume has file history or shadow copy protection. Movies, music, and etc. are stored on B:/N, M:/ is the backing store for all file history with changed files being versioned and backed up to it every 10 minutes. As you can see, Windows 7 wrote nowhere near as much data. Here's a screenshot of Winfo64.
Windows has built an update sharing system. Make sure you have that turned off. Settings, Update and AMP. Security, Windows Update, your advanced options. Choose how updates are derived. Also make sure you don't have Windows Backup System turned on. Settings, Update and AMP. Security, Backup.
You can use Task Manager to see what processes are writing the most data to disk. Open Task Manager, select the Details tab, right-click on the table header, and click Select Columns. Then check I/O read bytes, I/O write bytes, and I/O other bytes and click OK. That said, I think file history is to blame here. In my experience, the file history databases, catalog1.edb and catalog2.edb, can grow very large over time. To make matters worse, they are rewritten in their entirety every time the history is updated, every 10 minutes as configured on your system, and Windows will decompress them if you use NTFS compression. This can cause large amounts of writes to the disk over time. Regardless of which drives are covered by file history, these databases are stored in your user profile at C. /users /appdata /local /Microsoft /Windows /file history /configuration. With a pair of 100 MB databases, nearly 30 GB a day will be written to the system volume at 10 minutes per update, assuming it writes both files every time. My solution was to use a junction point. Stop the file history service, move the configuration folder to another location where write endurance is not an issue, create a junction point that points to the new location in place of the original location of the folder, and restart the file history service. That should fix the problem.
You can potentially save a few more GB per day by disabling/redirecting WFP and netcore logs. Info was found here. How to disable Windows 10 system log. 1. C column /Windows /system 32 /log files /my /netcore.etl. Get constantly written, especially when multiple apps are open. You can redirect it to another drive with the following command. If you reboot, you will need to launch the command again. So I created a elevated, scheduled task on session start. 2. C column /program data /Microsoft /Windows /WFP /wapdiag.etl get constant writes to. You can simply disable the log. 3. I also disabled the NFTS last access, disabled in Vista /7 and reintroduced in 10, but I think it is negligible. Default is 2.